Nnena, stop it. You need a baby, and that doesn't change the fact that you are my first love. In the village of Enugu, there lived a 10 years old girl called Nnena. Nnena lived with her mother, Ifoma. Nnena was used to being her mother's only child. They spent a lot of time together, cooking together, fetching water together, and telling stories together. But one sunny morning, Nnena had the news she feared most. Her mother was expecting a baby. Nnena felt a tight knot in her chest. This can't be true. What if the baby takes away my mother's love from me? What if my mother begins to neglect me? Oh no, I can't take this. That afternoon, while playing near the edge of the forest, she stumbled upon an old shrine hidden among tall bushes. The shrine was small, covered in red and white clothes, and had strange carving on it. Nnena reached out to touch it, feeling a shiver running through her body. That night, she couldn't sleep. A voice echoed in her dreams. "You feared being forgotten, don't you?" The voice whispered, "I can make sure the new baby never arrives." Nnena woke up, her heart racing. She thought it was just a dream, but she couldn't shake the feeling that something wanted to help her. The next morning, she returned to the shrine. She knelt before it and whispered, "Please, don't let my mother have the baby." As soon as she spoke, the wind picked up and she heard a faint laugh echoing through the trees. Later that evening, Inenna's mother felt something down her spine, but she brushed it off. She believed her problem was solved. At first, everything seemed normal, but later that evening, she started feeling strange. She had dreams of a shadowy figure standing outside their home, and every night she would wake up gasping for air. Soon, she grew weaker, unable to cook or go to the stream. The village healer, Mama Ejike, was called. She checked Ifeoma and said, "This is not ordinary sickness. It feels like something offended the spirit." Nnena watched as her mother grew weaker each day. Guilt began to creep into her heart. Had she done something wrong by asking the shrine for help? One night, she dreamed of the shrine again. This time, the voice sounded angrier. "You asked me for help, but you did not consider the price," it said. Nnena woke up drenched in sweat, afraid to close her eyes again. As the day passed, Ifeoma continued to get weaker and weaker, and her condition worsened. Inenna's father, Chukwudi, looked worried and desperate. He visited Mama Ejike again, but even she couldn't find a cause. Rumors spread through Enugu about the strange sickness in their house. People whispered that the spirits were angry, but no one knew why. One evening, Nnena overheard her father saying, "If this continues, Ifeoma may not survive." Fear wrapped around Inenna's heart like a wine. She couldn't let anything happen to her mother. She decided she had to go back to the shrine to fix whatever she had started. She crept out of the house in the middle of the night, her feet crunching against the dry leaves. At the shrine, Nnena knelt again, her voice trembling. "Please, I don't mean to harm my mother. I just wanted her to love me like before." But the air around her grew colder, and the voice in the wind replied, "The debt must be paid, a child for a child." Nnena realized that the spirit wanted her mother's life in exchange for the unborn child. Tears filled her eyes as she begged, but the voice only laughed. She ran back home, her heart pounding. But when she reached the doorstep, she saw a dark shadow standing outside their hut. It was shaped like a person, but its eyes glowed a fiery red. Nnena froze, unable to move. The shadow pointed towards the hut, then vanished into the night. Nnena rushed inside to find her mother, shivering and calling out her name. "Nnena, my child." Ifeoma's voice was weak. She held Inenna's hand, Her eyes filled with pain. I feel like something is trying to take me away. Nnena felt a stab of guilt. She couldn't tell her mother the truth. She knew what she had done, and she's finding a way to stop what the spirit is doing to her mom. She went to Mama Ejike the next day, hoping the healer could help. Mama Ejike, please, what happens if someone makes a promise to the spirit and then regrets it? She asked, her voice shaking. Mama Ejike looked at her closely, her eyes narrowing. Spirit, do not forget, my child. If you made a deal, it must be fulfilled or balanced with another sacrifice. Nnena felt trapped. She couldn't bear the thought of losing her mother. That night, she lay awake, thinking of what she could do. As she drifted into the restless sleep, she saw a spirit in her dreams again, this time surrounded by shadows of loss of children. The spirit spoke in a low, rumbling voice. The price must be paid. Nnena knew what she had to do. She decided to offer herself to the spirit instead of her mother. The next night, she sneaked back to the shrine. Take me, she whispered, her voice breaking. Let my mother live. But the wind hollowed, and the spirit laughter echoed through the trees. Brave child, but it is not your life I want. Nnena felt a cold hand brush her shoulder, and she turned to see the spirit standing behind her. It looked blurry. It raised a shadowy hand, and she felt a tug at her heart. She closed her eyes, bracing for the worst. But then she heard another voice, a gentle, warm voice that sounded like her grandmother's. Release the child. The death was made in innocence. The spirit growled, but the gentle voice spoke again. Let her correct her mistake. Nnena felt cold presence fade, and when she opened her eyes, she was alone at the shrine, surrounded by the whisper of the wind. The next day, Mama Ejike visited their home, sensing a shift in the air. Someone spoke to the spirit last night, she said. Nnena, do you know anything? Nnena couldn't hide her guilt anymore. She confessed everything, tears streaming down her face. Her parent looked at her with shock and pain. But Mama Ejike put a hand on her shoulder. You must return to the spirit shrine and undo the wish, my child. It is the only way with Mama Ejike's help. Nnena gathered offerings, palm wine, cola, nuts, and white cloth. They went to the shrine together, and Nnena placed the offering before it. She spoke with a trembling voice, asking the spirit for forgiveness. For a moment there was silence, then breeze swept through, carrying the voice away. That night, Ifeoma's condition began to improve. The dark shadow that had lingered around their home faded away. Nnena felt a weight lift from her chest, but she couldn't forget the voice of the spirit or faces of the shadowy children she had seen in her dreams. She knew she had narrowly escaped a great danger, and she promised herself never to meddle in the spirit again. As the week passed, Ifeoma regained her strength. She cradled her growing belly, smiling at Nnena. I am so proud of you, my brave child, she said. Though she didn't know the full truth of what had happened, Nnena hugged her tightly, vowing to protect her family and the new baby with all her heart. And as the first cry of the new baby sister filled their home, Nnena realized that her mother's love had only grown stronger and stronger, and there was enough for both of them after all.